Writers from diverse backgrounds are being encouraged to get involved with a new mentoring scheme aiming to make the world of books better reflect British society. Penguin Random House is partnering with London writing charity Spread the Word to launch their Right Now 2017 programme. I'm very pleased to say joining me in the studio now is the editor for Penguin Random House Children's, Mainga Bhima, and poet and chair of Spread the Word, Rishi Dadista. Lovely to have you both with us. Thanks for coming in. Rishi, just tell us why a scheme like this, which sounds great, but why it's needed in 2017?
It's been pretty apparent over the last couple of years that the publishing industry has not fully kept up with the way that UK society in particular has developed in terms of diversity, the way that the society looks, and the stories and the talent that we know is out there who are waiting to actually tell their stories, bring their voices and their particular experiences to a wider world. And part of, say, the work that we do at Spread the Word is precisely in finding that talent, encouraging people from those backgrounds and those communities who might not think that literature is a thing for them, a possible career to pursue, and actually encourage them to go, to discover that talent that they might have. The flip side of that is to encourage the publishing industry as well to look beyond where they've normally looked for writers and future bestsellers and actually say to them, look, you're missing out on this potential talent, these wonderful new stories that are there as well.
Well, really interesting you should say that. Mainga, given your position, the role that you have, is the problem here with the publishing side of things that it's not looking wide enough?
I think there have been a number of reasons why we don't have inclusion and diversity in publishing and in children's books as well. I work on the children's side, so for me, it's of particular importance to make sure that the stories we publish reflect our wider society. And I think the idea is, we've acknowledged those problems in the past, and we're at a particular moment where it seems that there's a real energy around trying to change that. And at Penguin Random House, we're the biggest publisher. We want to be right at the cutting edge of leading the way, and schemes like Right Now are how we're hoping to do it.
There is a sense, isn't there, that the internet has opened up the world of not just media, not a whole range of different industries, but particularly writing, that people can self-publish. Does it make schemes like this almost redundant, that people can go out there and do it by themselves?
Self-publishing is a great way to actually discover that there might be a potential audience out there for you. Now, I benefited from an Arts Council mentoring scheme in my career, so I'm a great advocate of the fact that once you get to a certain level and that you know that you have some talent, one of the best ways to actually move on to the next level is to work with a variety of people who can help you hone your craft, develop networks, and actually start to show you the ways into what is actually a fairly competitive industry as well. So, of course, there's always going to be success stories for people who stay self-published and go outside the usual channels, but I think bringing people in is the best way for actually the industry to keep renewing and finding greater success stories.
So who are you looking for? How many people are you looking for?
Well, thank you, Rishi. That's exactly what we're trying to do with Right Now. And so the scheme is that we will speak to 150 writers who will invite down to events in London, Bristol and Newcastle. And those writers will each receive a one-on-one feedback session with an editor who will have engaged with their manuscript and will have previously read their work. They'll also have an opportunity to speak to literary agents and published writers, hopefully from these communities as well, who can give an insight into the publishing process and what it's like to engage with a publisher to get their work into the world. So we absolutely encourage anybody who's out there in London who's got a story to tell, please do apply to Right Now, because we absolutely want to hear from you.
And Rishi, any restrictions on the sort of stories people are telling? Because there is a bit of a bugbear for diverse communities that whenever we're given opportunities, it's often to talk about our very kind of specific view of the world as opposed to anything.
Yes, absolutely. And my advice, my encouragement is do not worry about that. Tell the story that you need to tell, because it is precisely only through casting aside those sorts of limitations that we actually start to get the richness and the full spectrum of the concerns that everyone might have. And certainly we know that the scheme is not interested in just forcing people into a particular issue-led view of the world. We want much more imagination than that, almost, in that sense.
And before we give the details for people to sign up, you touched on having a mentoring programme which helped you. What difference did it make for your career?
There's technical things around, getting better at writing and so getting better at the craft aspects of poetry, but also the wider sense of ambition. When you actually work closely with people who have been published and who know the way in the world, you start to suddenly discover that sense of, oh, maybe I can do this too. And you can never underestimate that power of actually seeing someone else who's done it and then actually seeing that goal being very tangible and in your grasp as well. So, that sense of role model I found particularly important.
And for anyone watching this right now, chomping at the bit, wanting to get involved, how can they?
They can get involved by visiting our website, which is www.write-now.live. And we're really excited. If you're over 18 and you've got a story to tell, be that non-fiction, fiction, adults or children's, we want to hear from you. And hopefully we'll be taking from the 150 writers, the 10 most promising writers forward into a year-long mentoring scheme, just as Rishi talks about, and with a view to publishing those books in the end. So absolutely, we would encourage everybody to get involved. That's www.write-now.live.